So today is day 14 of 28 Vegans. Being Valentine's Day, February 14th, I thought it was most appropriate to reach out to Love Always Sanctuary. I think the message that they bring, their name in general, is very serendipitous, so I reached out to Nickie to see if she would be able to join us today, and thankfully she was able to make room for me today in her busy schedule. So I'm going to bring Nickie on so we can talk to her a little bit and let her spread a little joy and love and kindness and compassion. So if you all will join me in welcoming Nickie, give me just a second here. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm wonderful. How are you?
Doing well. So I hear it's a little rainy and soggy out there today.
It's a little bit rainy and soggy. We're surviving.
Well, that's a good positive attitude for that. Something I really appreciate is that you were able to clear a little bit of time to come and, spread a positive message and share some of your story and your compassion and your journey with me. I think it's so important that we all encourage people to share their stories because you don't know who or how your story is going to connect with someone else. You never know what it is that you share or what it is that you are going to put out there to the universe that's going to connect with someone and have them wake up. And to me, that's incredible. What was it for you that brought you to this journey and started this way of looking at animals and this way of looking at life and more compassion and kindness?
I guess we're all born into it because we're all born innocent, but I was kind of born my own sanctuary. I grew up kind of in an abusive home, and the animals saved me. They absolutely 100% when I should have shut down and learned not to love and trust. Instead, I learned the exact opposite because I would hold a barn cat or something that probably didn't want to be held a lot longer than it wanted to be held until that something magical kind of happens where they give into you and you give into them, and it's this very safe space. There's really nothing else like it. It's pure magic. And so I'm just doing for them what they did for me. I am a relatively balanced human because of them. That in real therapy. So that's it. It's very simple.
That's fantastic. I love your sign behind you, by the way.
Thank you. Les Mitchell gave that to the sanctuary.
Jane rocks the house. She's a very powerful voice in this movement, so definitely love that. I'll have to see if I can. I've seen. So we live in a rural farm community in Ohio, and I've seen people put that sticker on stop signs at different places. So even there's a chance, even in Ohio, there's hope when you see stuff like that.
Yeah, Amy Jean Davis at Hazily Eyed Vegan and I single-handedly did all of Las Vegas.
I mean, no, we didn't, but good job. Well done. So you and I were talking earlier. So you have just a little over 70 residents at your sanctuary. And you shared a story. You're like, well, 30 of some of them are similar. Would you care to share that with everybody?
Sure. Well, 32 of them are very small African sulcata tortoises. I think it was about 2 years ago, Sean Monson and I rescued 2 adult African sulcata tortoises, and we asked about their mating behaviors and what we needed to do moving forward. And they said that in the 20 years that they had them, eggs never hatched because it's the wrong climate. So it was not on my radar. Running a vegan sanctuary, you take the eggs away from the chickens. There are things that you know to do, and that was not something I knew to look for. And I was in the back doing my morning chores, and out of the corner of my eye, I just saw all this little movement scurrying, and I initially thought it was tarantulas, which actually might have been better, even though I'm not a huge
Depends on who you ask.
It was tiny little tortoises crawling out from under our yoga deck where she had buried the eggs. So it's horrible to have brought life to a vegan sanctuary, unfortunately, but also we brought life that's going to live a really, really long time.
Yes.
I have partnered with a sanctuary that specializes in sulcata tortoises, so they're going to facilitate the adoption because that's not something that we do here.
Okay. Well, that's, that takes some dedication when you're talking about an animal that lives over 100 years. So fantastic. That's, you said tarantulas, and the first time you shared that story with me, I would have been like out over the fence. I'm going home. I don't do.
The story is even a little bit funnier because in my panic and not knowing what to do, and they're everywhere, I just took my shirt off and used it as a bag. So I'm running around topless with little baby tortoises in my shirt screaming, "Oh no, oh no, oh no."
You got to do what you got to do, and like being resourceful like that. I mean, what are you going to, like, you have to. I think anyone else would have reacted the same way, and luckily you're on your property and not somebody else's, so that's that's fantastic. The that image of, like, if you have neighbors, anybody looking over, they're like, "What is she doing today?" They probably think she probably finally lost it. But one of the things you and I had talked about is that this moment in movement isn't just about compassionate for animals. You named your sanctuary Love Always because your favorite word is love. And that extends not just to the animals, but to the humans that are in and around our lives. I have been guilty of not being a kind person my whole life, not just to animals, but to people. This movement for me has brought things to my life that I view things more compassionately and more kindly, even on a human level. And I think one of the things I try to do a good job at encouraging and educating folks as far as a vegan lifestyle. I try to get people to try new things. I grew up hunting. I grew up not being compassionate to animals. And that was very hard for me to get over and let go. And my wife and I, prior to starting our journey, that was a point of contention for a long time in our house. But coming to this, it's allowed me to look at things differently. But you shared something with me earlier that we can't be so hard to judge folks who have not yet come to this movement. If you would you share that little phrase you shared with me?
Well, unless you were lucky enough to be born vegan, we all still have blood on our hands. It's just some of us, it's dry. So when you're reaching out to new people to talk to them about making the change and making the connection, the only way to do it is with love. You're not going to reach them, you're going to lose them, and they're going to go the other direction. So
I couldn't agree more. When you said that, it's so funny, as I've had conversations throughout this series, somebody will say something I haven't heard before, something that, because my wife and I are new to this journey, we'll hear a little tidbit of something like that. And that's something that really hits home for me because, I can't yell at a farmer, at a rancher or a hunter for doing things that I used to do, things that I used to participate in. And it took me almost 38, 39 years of my life to, come to this realization. So I really appreciate getting some. She wants to talk too, yeah? So, I really appreciate that perspective and that point of view and that mentality because you're right. There's no way that if you're yelling and screaming at folks who still haven't come to this movement, haven't started their journey, they're not going to listen if you're yelling and screaming at them, calling them names. Renee from Rowdy Girl Sanctuary, she openly admits that she used to call Tommy, her husband, a murderer every time he'd send cows to the barn. And she goes, it may not have been the best way to approach that, but thankfully that all worked out quite well, if anyone's familiar with their story. So, but, I think you bring such a positive light and message to this, and I really wanted to bring you on and just kind of celebrate you and Love Always Sanctuary and the things that you do. So outside of your guys' animals, are you guys anything else you're working on that you want to share about?
Yes. Well, while we are here in San Fernando on this property, if you watch the Instagram page, as soon as it's not raining and flooding, we will be having food truck events again, and also guided meditation and yoga with the animals again, which is just amazing. Aside of that, we are fundraising like crazy to move off of this property because the end goal for Love Always is to not just have all the cutest animals in the whole wide world, the goal is full circle. Like I said, human animal tree unity here. Marlene, who is on the board of directors here, and my right-hand man, is a therapist, and she plans on putting her office on property. We just have to find something here that offers the correct zoning for the animals and
Sure.
for her to have her office, so that we can start to help abused kids. And in the same way that I know that they can sit and be in an actual office with an actual doctor, which they actually need, but be holding a turkey in their lap or a chicken or a yunny, so that they can actually be open to hearing what someone's saying. So we have a really big plan. So I hope you guys will follow us. I hope that you'll join us. I hope that you will donate lots of money, because we want to stay in California. This is
It's
where
important.
our tribe is. We've set our intention to stay here now. We could move to another state and do this tomorrow. But this is where it begins. This is where we want to be. This is where we need to be.
Well, and that's home for you, and I think that's important that everyone has that home base for them. Some people, they enjoy having that freedom of being wherever they want to go, but for me, I enjoy having home, and like Ohio to me is always going to be my home wherever my wife and I are on our journey. And one of the things we talked about was the weather. We get all 4 seasons, and we get plenty of all 4 of them, and we really enjoy that. It's tough being in Ohio because it's not a huge mecca for vegan anything. Things are changing. Even just outside of Dayton, Ohio, there are restaurants popping up all over the place that have more and more options. You'll hear people talking about it in the grocery store. You'll see people in large areas talking about, oh, I don't eat chicken anymore. Or I don't eat beef anymore. And so it's happening, even though we're not in California. I've got 2 guys that'll be on later in the month called Eden Burger. It's a fast food restaurant that they opened up in Columbus, Ohio. And, so when you start seeing stuff like this, even in Ohio, which is going to be a place that is hard to change because of the traditions and the, just the mentality that I grew up and was raised with, I really appreciate it. You guys want to stay in your home base and do what's comfortable and what's important for you guys. And I would encourage anyone to check out Love Always Sanctuary. And if they can make a donation to help you guys, that would be wonderful. If nothing else, donations are great, but if they can at least share that information, share your story, share and follow along and help any way they can, it's just incredible. I think that is wonderful that you want to do this kind of full circle and that it's all related.
Also, just very quickly, we are definitely just not in need of monetary donations. I need brains. I need people who are able to do grant writing and things of that nature. So we need volunteers always, people with shovels and hammers and nails, but we also need people who can help us on a clerical side. So if you have any free time and like to share it and like to get paid in pig belly rubs, I am also a vegan chef, so I do cook for my volunteers. Yes, find us, please.
What is the best way that folks can reach out to you for volunteering opportunities?
Instagram is always the easiest. We do have Love Always has a website, but Instagram's always the best way to get the quickest response, because there are so many other volunteers that are actually checking it. So if I can't see it, someone else will.
Okay. I think it hits a very important topic for sanctuaries everywhere, is that, everyone may not be in the position to rescue an animal, but we're all in the position to not cause harm to animals. So that includes by, what you're putting on your plate. So everyone can participate in that, but additionally, if you can't adopt an animal, you can't foster an animal, you should find a sanctuary that means something to you, and you should help support them, whether it be by dollars, by volunteering, and, everyone can do something. And, you never know what you can bring to a sanctuary or what you may be able to help with. Sometimes, animals want attention and company just as we do. They need to heal from what they've been through, and sometimes, unfortunately, animals haven't had the kindest road, and they need to heal just as much as we do. So, what a powerful, grand scheme and big picture that I absolutely love and adore. Just very incredible.
Well, next time you guys visit California, hopefully I'll be there and I can show it to you. Not hopefully, I will.
Yes, I hope so. We will. We'll see to that next time we get out that way, that we definitely stop by and get together. And Nickie, I really appreciate you taking the time in your busy day to share that and carve out a few minutes to join my 20 vegan series. you know, I'm just trying to do this to spread some awareness, spread some good hope and positive messages, and you know, hopefully somehow I can start making a difference in my neighborhood, in this little farm town we live in.
Now you're already on your way.
We're trying. I appreciate that, and again, thank you so very much. I hope you guys get dried out here quickly, and hopefully no more turtles in the time being.
All right. Give your beautiful wife a hug and have an amazing day.
Will do. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Be kind to people just as animals.
Yes. Bye.
See you.